less store, more ball, fewer infractions. This begins in 2020. The future is near. More access, more everyone, more everything.
March 6, 2019, show number 5.
Begun. This is the XFL.
What is up, my friends? Welcome to another edition of the XFL Week in Review. I am your host, The Mark, and on this week's show, we have a Marc Trestman press conference recap. Yes, the new head football coach of XFL Tampa Bay. We'll get into that. Plus, Did Manziel to the XFL, and more. Well, welcome back to the show. Bunch of breaking news, especially towards the end of last week. The news of Marc Trestman. We'll get to that. Plus, your social media and so much more. How do you get in touch with the show? You email podcast@xflnewshub.com with your MP3s, thoughts, or just use Twitter, hashtag XFLWIR. Remember, cutoff time is 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. Remember to leave us a review on iTunes. We will read it on the show. That way we can get the word out, not only to the fellow XFL fans, but as new fans start pouring into the league, as more interest gains steam based on all these announcements coming, and there are so many more coming from the XFL. So, without further ado, folks, let's just get into the week that was the XFL.
Good morning. Oliver, thank you for the kind introduction. I want to thank all of you for coming today, and also want to thank those involved in putting this event together on this beautiful Tampa day, this sunny day in Tampa. I come here today with, honestly, a great level of humility and appreciation to Oliver and his entire staff for the opportunity to be on the ground floor of the rebirth of the new XFL. And I get to do it alongside Bob Stoops and Pep Hamilton and my friend Jim Zorn, as well as other coaches that are going to join us soon. It all started about 2 months ago for me when Oliver reached out. He explained his genuine reasons for taking on this challenge. And without quoting him, he made it clear that he wanted to build the XFL the right way, that honored and respected our game, a league that would be properly marketed, and it would be thoughtfully produced, and it could be sustainable over time. He explained that we could do it professionally in an entertaining fashion, yet creating a product on the field that we could recognize and appreciate under the new vision of Vince McMahon. Oliver was kind enough to come to Toronto in mid-January, just after I had both of my hips replaced. We spent a lot of time talking about the game of football, a game we both truly love, and possible ways to improve it, engage our fans along the way. He was gracious and transparent, and he answered a lot of my questions. And his answers and demeanor made it very clear to me that his process of building the new XFL would be an inclusive process with experienced group of professionals executed at a high level of integrity. And that excited me. And then after speaking with him, I was really convinced that Mr. McMahon was not only enthusiastically committed to financially backing the league and getting it right, but also he was giving Oliver, his new coaches, and his support and operations people time, almost a year, to do the necessary things to get our league organized and thoughtfully created. And then the closer for me was Oliver. He's a man of great integrity, and he's got experience with these startup types endeavors. For me personally, I'm excited to be in Tampa. I started my coaching career here in Florida, working for Coach Schnellenberger, where he found something in me that I really never saw in myself as a young UM law student, and then on with Jimmy Johnson. Both men taught me a lot about life and a lot about the game as I started my coaching career. I got to recruit this side of Florida during my time as a coach at Miami, and I took the Florida bar exam just a few miles away from this venue. I spent a year with the Bucks in the late 80s before moving on. And I'm also familiar with this region's love of the game, love of sports in general. And I'm humble and confident that we're going to work incredibly hard to give football fans in this area and their families a quality product. And then next February, when we begin to play the games, look at what we have. We're going to have the best climate in all the league for families and their fans to watch quality football affordably. And the other part of it, which is going to be great for our players, is we have the best surface in the United States right here at Raymond James to play it on. As Oliver has said many times in his travels, and I've heard him say that, we're not here in town to compete against the Bucs or the NFL, where I had a chance and good fortune and privilege of coaching for almost 20 years. I've got great respect for Coach Arians. His record speaks for itself, as we all know, and I am certainly confident that he and his staff are going to do a tremendous job of building the Glazers franchise. But we're here today in March of 2019 to begin building a strong, proud franchise in the beautiful Tampa Bay area, to creatively reimagine the game, yet still, as Oliver always reminds us, while still respecting the great game of professional football. Our immediate task over the next few months will be to do an outstanding job and a detailed work in hiring professional coaches, and who will not only inspire our players, but teach them and develop them to be great both on and off the field. And then we'll move into the late summer and fall, where we begin to evaluate our player pool. I foresee two or three things. Number one, we're going to see players who have a desire to play in the NFL, and right here they're going to have the opportunity to show you that they deserve to be there. There'll be others who have played in the NFL and would like to have another shot at it, and they will get it. Some will get it. And then finally, you're going to have some players who know their NFL careers are over, but still love the game. And the common denominator between all three groups, in my opinion, is that they're going to have a tremendous love for the game. Their talent will still be at the level that allows them to play entertaining and exciting football, and they'll have great work ethic. I truly foresee that. This is going to be a great opportunity for young men to continue to play football, the game they love, to get paid for it, and I think positively contribute to our community right here in Tampa, both on and off the field. And finally, and most importantly, as we move into the season, the goal for our team is really simple. Looks simple, but it's hard. Let me put it that way. We're going to try to play as fast as we can, as smart as we can, disciplined and physical football. And we're going to do it in an exciting and entertaining fashion where we'll have a team that not only the XFL will be proud of, our team will be proud of, but this entire community will be proud of as well. So thank you again for having me here today. Oliver, thank you for this unbelievable opportunity to participate in this new league in this great area, which I am so familiar with. So it's time to get started. Thank you very much.
So there you have it. Marc Trestman is the new head coach of the XFL Tampa franchise. Now, I was a little surprised. This name kind of came out of nowhere. So now we have Bob Stoops, Jim Zorn, Pep Hamilton, and now Marc Trestman. So we have 4 out of the 8 teams now have head coaches. Some tidbits and some notes from the press conference. Ken Hagan, Hillsborough County Commissioner, said Tampa Bay is the 11th largest TV market, which I found interesting. Oliver Luck said money matters when working with a startup, which is what the XFL is, and the XFL has it. I think that's another iteration, a little note to those partners and fans when it comes to the AAF, that the XFL has plenty of cash, nothing to worry about here. Again, Luck mentioned the TV deal announcement coming real soon. I'm sure they already have it ready to go, but I think they want to get their coaches out there first, kind of once a week trickle. We have 4 more head coaches to go, and we have 1, 2, 3 more weeks in March. So we might get a double up one week. Maybe this is why they rushed this one out Monday. Maybe do another one like Big LA on Friday. Still no Jim Haslett out there. Some other things. Oliver Luck said that the XFL needs to watch a little bit more of the CFL. We'll get into that in a second for good ideas. And Oliver Luck reached out to Marc Trestman only 2 months ago. I thought that was really interesting. That was just 2 months ago. Some things that Trestman brought up, that he was a law student at the University of Miami. Said Raymond James Stadium was the best playing surface in the country. I thought that was interesting. And that the XFL is not there to compete with the NFL or the Tampa Bay Bucs. They're their own entity. And fall of 2019 will be the XFL player pool evaluations. That's something that he seemed very interested in too. And I think for us as fans, it's funny because NFL will kick off and the NFL will be all hyped. I'm watching who are the people that got cut and who got signed for the XFL. So it's going to be a really fun time starting in sometime in July time frame when really things are start to pick up with the XFL and the NFL. Now, a little background on Marc Trestman. If you follow the NFL, he's 63 years old. He most recently coached for the Toronto Argonauts, the Canadian Football League, where they won a Grey Cup in 2017. He won consecutive Grey Cups as the head coach of the Montreal Alouettes in the CFL from 2009 and 2010. And his only stint in the NFL, though, was as head coach with the Chicago Bears for 2 years. 2 seasons also. He later became the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, my team. So I just want to point out, just throwing it out there, Jim Zorn, Marc Trestman, both former Raven coaches. Just throwing it out there, man. Just take that for what you will. Now, as far as his background, he was a quarterback at the University of Minnesota and a backup to Tony Dungy. His first coaching job came in 1983 at the University of Miami. He talked about in the press conference both, and I'm going to pronounce his name, y'all going to hate me, working with Coach Schnellenberger and Jimmy Johnson, University of Miami. How did he go from a lawyer into coaching? I guess he was a quarterback's coach. So anyway, so he was a quarterback at University of Minnesota and backup to Tony Dungy, Hall of Famer. His first coaching job came in 83 with the University of Miami. He was quarterback's coach for Bernie Kosar, and the Hurricanes won their national championship that year. And then just a long list of different stops and starts for Trestman in the NFL, college ranks, the whole thing. He's a guy who he's got the NFL football blood in him. He has won 3 championships in the CFL. And I remember when he came to the Bears, I was like, man, this is a really good pickup. This guy's won a lot. Now, they didn't really do very well in Chicago and the NFL. Didn't really do that great with the Ravens as offensive coordinator, got fired there. But I could see him really flourishing in the XFL. And it's interesting. We asked later for fans to rank their top 4 coaches. And we'll see what they have to say and where does Trestman fall in that line. Former Cleveland Browns quarterback Johnny Manziel was released from the CFL's Montreal Alouettes and is also barred from signing with any other Canadian Football League team. Last week, the team announced his release less than a year after the former college star signed his deal with the league. I thought he was getting his act together. The Alouettes said that Manziel was released, quote, based on the direction of the Canadian Football League after he apparently broke an agreement he had with the league that allowed him to play. The league also effectively banned Manziel from playing in the CFL after telling teams that officials would not approve any contract given to the quarterback. So he did something really bad that they weren't like, no, the team didn't come. No, the whole league got rid of him. Details of what caused the release have yet to be announced, but Manziel posted on social media that he looks forward to exploring new options, and he also thanked his coach, his teammates, and the CFL fans as seen in this tweet. So what did Manziel do? Well, according to a source, Manziel violated a set of conditions within his contract set by the CFL when he originally signed in May of 2018. Although the league never specified the terms, it said in a statement that they were extensive and exacting and were generated after an assessment from an independent expert on domestic violence. The source did not believe that the release was a result of Manziel attempting to break his contract to play in an American developmental league like the AAF or XFL. So it had nothing to do with that. Quote, we are disappointed by the turn of events, close quote. Alouettes general manager Cav Reed said in a statement released by the team. Johnny was provided a great deal of support by our organization in collaboration with the CFL. He has been unable to abide by the terms of his agreement. We worked with the league and presented alternatives to Johnny, who was unwilling to proceed. Now, Manziel was a former Texas A&M standout who broke various records during his time in college football. A college football star. He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, where he spent 2 years and a short-lived stint in the NFL from 2014 to 2015. During his time in the NFL, Manziel, who was recently said that he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, was hit with a domestic assault charge in 2016. It was dismissed after he took an anger management course and participated in NFL's substance abuse program. In early 2018, after months of proving himself in the CFL, Manziel was offered a contract by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. However, he spent the first month of the season on the bench before he was traded to the Alouettes in a deal that included 2 first-round picks. So he lost 2 first-round picks by a guy that they cut. During his time with the Alouettes, Manziel, 26, tried to resurrect his career. In 8 games, he completed 106 passes in 165 attempts for 1,290 yards, with 5 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Nothing great. To get Manziel, the Alouettes traded 2 first-round picks and 2 players to Hamilton for his rights. The Alouettes still have 5 other quarterbacks under contract. Manziel had said in his statement he will likely pursue a future with the AAF or XFL. The quarterback has spoken highly of both leagues in the past. Where he goes and plays, one doesn't know. Do you think the XFL should take a shot at Johnny Manziel? I think he's damaged goods. Clearly, he didn't leave on good terms and everything is hunky-dory. There's probably some serious stuff, and they've really probably tried to work with him so that he could stay in the league, but he just went in the other direction. And his stats aren't that great either. 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. What do you do? Are you interested if you are in the XFL? Leave a comment. Send us a comment, podcast at xflnewshub.com, and let us know what you think. According to an exclusive report by Darren Ravel on the Action Network, XFL could offer 2019 NFL rookies bonuses worth up to $100,000 to lure them away from the NFL. Throw in some serious cash, boys. All this has taken place during a presentation made by the XFL to NFL agents during the NFL Combine last week. Some notes from the meeting: XFL can offer high-profile players commitment bonuses if they are willing to give up playing in the 2019 NFL season. XFL is willing to spend money to induce first-year players to skip the 2019 NFL season to prepare for the XFL. The league could target fringe players who aren't drafted and are being offered small free agent signing bonuses. The league could also offer higher bonuses to players cut in preseason camp or at the final cutdowns. XFL wants its franchise quarterback locked in for its 8 teams before the NFL season. We've heard Oliver Luck talk about that. And a way to do that is to find that fringe quarterback, that third stringer perhaps. Players will be offered up to 3-year contracts for the XFL. XFL players can negotiate outs in their contracts to play in the NFL, so they're not totally locked in. The XFL will have a roster of 45 players with 4 salary levels. So here's where you got 1 slot per team. Most of the time it will be the QB. Will make at least $250,000 per season. Then there'll be a tier 2 with 3 slots, a tier 3 with 23 slots, and a tier 4 with 18 slots to round out that 45. All that stuff. Stay tuned to XFL News Hub for more when we start to see players. We got coaches being named. We got team names. We'll get some players soon, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll take a commercial break and be right back with your social media stuff. Stay tuned. There is only one place that you can get all your XFL news. That is xflnewshub.com. We go all the way back from the beginning of time for the XFL all the way up to today's stuff, where you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. All those locations to get all your XFL news. We are your number one source of XFL football news from now all the way until February 2020 kickoff. So stick with xflnewshub.com for all your latest information. Follow us on all the social medias. That's xflnewshub.com. Remember it. Write it down. xflnewshub.com. All right, we are back. Let's check in the social media stuff. Denise Helton 6 on the Twitter talking about Jim Zorn. He got there by calling fake punt plays every game that never worked. Must be a Skins fan, just kind of throwing it out there. Not a fan of Jim Zorn. We'll see how he ranks in our ranking thing that we have coming up. Our question of the week. Talking about Johnny Manziel and what if maybe next stop XFL. BJ says on the Facebooks, Vince said no one with a criminal record. On top of that, he won't be able to pass a drug test. True. Probably. I don't know. Allegedly. Corey, didn't XFL say it wouldn't sign convicts? Josh, no, the XFL doesn't want any player with a criminal record for anything. Ha 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 face. So he might be like, whatever. Vic, nope, you can't play for the XFL if you've ever been charged with a crime. So his pleading guilty for domestic assault bars him. His last hope is the new league or a arena league. Justin certainly has the talent for XFL. I can see Johnny Football being the face of the league for a while. I don't know. Ruben, a bust in the NFL, a bigger bust in the CFL, and now going to be the biggest bust in XFL. Chris, he has a police record. No XFL for you, Johnny Football. Mark, his next stop is his couch to watch everyone else play on Saturday and Sunday. Ooh. Finally, Kerry said, I don't think he would last in the XFL. Bunch of no. David says he's a piece of garbage. Again, like I've said earlier in the show, his record, I mean, his, 5 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. I mean, he might be a little rusty, but the CFL got rid of him for a reason. And I don't think the XFL has any interest in Johnny Manziel personally. About Jim Zorn, more about Zorn. Chris says he used his brains and got out of that trash league. Talking about the NFL. People are like, NFL sucks. XFL, they're all in, which is really interesting. On Trestman being named the new head coach of GM of the XFL Tampa Bay, former CFL head coach. Dave says, well, there goes their winning record, LOL. Maybe bring Cutler on board to be as quarterback for 7 years. Thanks for almost destroying my favorite team, you prick. Go back to the Fricon Canadian League. For all I care, you soiled Lovie Smith's good name, and now I hope you never come back to Chicago. That's the bottom line, 'cause I said so. David, a disgruntled Bears fan. Joe, I guess they don't want it to win. Ouch. See, I was thinking Trestman was going to be a good pickup, y'all. Surprised by that. Put this article out there, Fox2Now.com said Isaac Bruce talks Hall of Fame snub and XFL in St. Louis. So we asked the question, should he get a head coaching shot in the XFL? Steven, how is Bruce not in the Hall of Fame? I thought he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure, the greatest show on turf. Or was it Torrey Holt I'm thinking about? Ooh. Tim, hell yes, he should. Bring him home to the Dome. Dan, probably wouldn't be my first choice. Great player, not sure about his coaching. True. Javier, I agree he should be the head coach. Chris, the man can coach. A lot of St. Louis fans. Now, here's the problem. If you're a St. Louis fan and you all are just clamoring for Isaac Bruce, the only way to make this work, because if Jim Haslett comes there, I don't think there's going to be some Dome fans that are going to be happy about that. But if you say, and part of my staff is going to be Isaac Bruce, put him on wide receiver coach, which clearly, even if you're an NFL team, Isaac Bruce, as long as he's got a clean background that we don't know, as long as he's good, having him on as a coach, not at the head coach, but a coach would be a very good thing for whoever is going into St. Louis. I'll tell you that much. Finally, hitting on the Instagram. So we asked the question, rank the 4 XFL head coaches. We got Jim Zorn, Pep Hamilton, Bob Stoops, and now Marc Trestman. Chavez 25 Anders says Trestman is number 1. See, I was like, man, would Trestman be number 1? Somebody asked, who is the guy? Oh, AAFL.sim. Who is the guy at the bottom right under Stoops? That would be Pep Hamilton. Kyle for real. Stoops, Trestman, Pep Hamilton, Zorn. I'm with Kyle. I think that's my rank too. Raider_chef says Trestman, Stoops, Pep, Zorn. I'm with that one too. I think Stoops and Trestman are really neck and neck right now. Pep Hamilton is 3, and Jim Zorn, based on, I'm from Maryland. I was around during the Zorn era, so I know. Sorry, Seattle fan, but Zorn is at the bottom. And then finally, James Ackle says, whoever brings me on their team is my pick. Okay. I don't think you're in contention, James Ackle, but best of luck to you. So that was our question of the week. Rank the 4 head coaches. So what I want to know, this question of the week, Would you like to see Johnny Manziel in the XFL? I mean, I've gotten some response there where fans are just like, no, he's garbage, whatever. But we didn't really put the question out there. Would you like to see him? And would it be good for the XFL to have Johnny Manziel in the XFL? That's the question for next week's show. Again, thanks for tuning in. If you want to be part of the show, email podcast@xflnewshub.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just look up XFL News Hub. We're not the XFL. We're XFL News Hub. Leave us a review on iTunes, or we'll read it on the next show. And remember, you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Stitcher. Anyway, thanks for y'all listening. We got some fun stuff coming up. I'm so excited about what's going on. Thanks for checking in. I am the Mark. Thank you for listening. God bless to you all, and I will see you all later.